Back in the mid-'70s, the city made a policy that Skid Row would be a contained, preserved area, much like an Indian reservation or a ghetto, where the unwashed and unwanted would be contained, literally.
Some of that, at least arguably, was done for humanitarian reasons, that it would be easier to access services if they were all up in the same place and so on. But it also fit neatly with the desire to keep people off of Bunker Hill and the redevelopment that was then happening to the west of here.
One of the other important things to understand about Skid Row is that it's not primarily a homeless population, and people tend to think it is. And it's really critical people understand that, because if you think of Skid Row as primarily a homeless population, that's one set of issues with one set of solutions. Then you build large shelters, and if you do it the way some people at City Hall would like it, you'd build them out in the desert. But that's not what Skid Row is. Skid Row is principally an endangered, low-income residential community. In the 50 blocks of Skid Row, there are 65 what we call single-room occupancy housing. Without this housing, people in the area would have nowhere to go. Who in the private or the public sector builds housing for a single adult whose total income is a $223 general relief check?
The majority of people in this community is either on SSI, Social Security, or GR. And so that's the reason why we call this community our home, because this is what we can afford. You know, we had to go to the Community Redevelopment Agency and get moratoriums that stop the immediate conversion of low-income housing units into condos and lofts.
We lost 1,000 units in about a 3 or 4 year period from about 2000 to 2004. It took the city a long time to respond with a moratorium on losing that housing.
Gentrification is the process by which new people come in and they have higher income levels, and then economically the older people are forced to leave.
You know, all these uptowners who want to come and have their sort of Disneyland, Manhattan experience, they have other options, the other communities they can go to. But the poor of Skid Row really have no other housing anywhere at all. Almost anyone would say to you, you've got to be crazy. Why would you save Skid Row? What is the possible value of saving Skid Row? If you think about it, if thousands of people on Main Street lose their housing, that's thousands of people for whom the city will have to build a massive and costly shelter system. It makes far more sense to preserve the housing the poor live in and let the poor continue to pay their own rent. So it makes good economic sense, not just good social and moral sense, for the city to, in fact, preserve the housing that's in the Skid Row area. There are a lot of empty lofts in the area. The city could convert that into housing.
Depending on who you ask, it costs about $16,000 to $24,000 a year to have someone in supportive housing, and housing with the services that help them stay in that housing with a 85% a year retention rate. That compares to anywhere from $45,000 to $100,000 a year to run people through the emergency rooms, the jails, the court system, and so on.